Hello, I'm Revd Tim, the Vicar of St John's in Harpenden, and I've put this video together to help explain why St John's looks a bit different in the period of the church year called Lent. And why? Well, Lent is the 40 days, excluding prior to Easter. But why 40? And has it always been that long? The Church has marked Lent as a time of preparation for 40 days since only the 5th century, when Pope Leo decreed that Lent should be 40 days, 40 consecutive days before Easter. And only in the 6th century that when Ash was given on the Wednesday before that, making what we now know as the 40 days of Lent. Prior to that, Lent was observed as the week before Easter, and even the 40 hours from Good Friday to Easter Day. 40 is an important number for Christians, because Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness before beginning his ministry. For many of us, Lent might seem a gloomy and solemn time of the church year, especially when the flowers are out and the weather is getting sunnier, as happens when Easter is slightly later in the year. However, like when Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness, it is best seen as a time of training and preparation for ministry as the people of God, which, yes, does include fasting and resisting temptation, but also the presence of angels ministering to us, so we can better live as Easter people in the world. If we were training for a marathon, we would put a schedule of exercise of increasing difficulty. Maybe we think about our diet and join groups to provide support and encouragement along the way. It's no different for our spiritual life. So how do we reflect this season at St John's? Well, the first thing you'll notice that the church is a little bit more empty. As when we are training for a race, we remove all the luxuries from our diet and become more focused. But whilst there's nothing wrong with these luxuries, they might not help us in our physical fitness. So we do in Lent. You see, there are no flowers in church. The banners on the walls have been removed. In our services, we do not sing the Gloria or sing out the Alleluias. And in terms of liturgical colours, some churches have violet or purple, but here we have what is called the Lenten Array. Think of it as sackcloth with red and black colours, associated since the late medieval period with a focus on being washed clean and made ready for something, rather than something too austere and gloomy. It is simple, but it helps us to attune the senses as much as the heart to the season of training and preparation. And the crowning glory of St John's is this Lenten Array altar frontal, made by a group called the Warham Guild, and probably dating to the late 1930s, as well as focusing our attention, acts as a teaching aid as much as anything else. If you've been inside St John's, and do please visit, it's open 7 days a week, and the altar frontal is on display used until Palm Sunday, which this year is the 10th of April. And on that frontal you'll see 13 emblems. Each is there for a reason, and to do with the passion of Jesus. You'll notice 3 rows. The upper and lower rows are linked. with the story of Jesus' passion. On the top row you have, from right to left, 3 bags of coins for Judas. That's quoting something from Matthew, where he was asked, are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you? So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver. You'll see the post where Jesus was flogged. And then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. That's from John's Gospel. There's a ladder for the ladder which the centurion used to take up the cross. The garments which the soldiers tossed a coin rather than divide amongst themselves. That's John as well. They also took his tunic. Now the tunic was a seamless woven in one piece from top to bottom. So they said to one another, let us not tear it, but cast lot for it, to see who will get it. This was to fulfill what the scripture says. They divided my clothes among themselves, and for my clothing they cast lots. And that is what the soldiers did. And on the bottom row, you'll see the tools used to nail Jesus to the cross. A hammer and some kind of set of pliers. The nails and the crown of thorns. And then this is from Luke. When the soldiers came to the place called the Skull, they nailed Jesus to a cross. And in Matthew, and after twisting together a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand, and they knelt down before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews. You have the spear and vinegar he was given to drink, and this is from John. A jar full of sour wine was standing there. So they put a sponge full of the wine on a branch of hyssop and held it to his mouth. The flogging whip we see as well. And in the middle row, I'm not 100% sure, but they seem to be names or emblems or titles associated with Jesus. So the bulrush on the left, I'm not quite sure, but the bulrush symbolises Moses, whose papyrus basket was found floating in the bulrushes by an Egyptian princess. That's from Exodus. Because Moses would become the deliverer of the Israelites, the bulrush symbolises deliverance and salvation. IHS, an abbreviation of the name Jesus, and you'll see this monogram around St. John's quite a lot if you look. INRI, this stands for Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. An inscription placed above the cross for Jesus. Something called the Chi Rho, another Christogram, the first 2 letters of the name in Greek of Jesus, Chi and Rho. A popular early Christian symbol. And then the last one is a lantern with a light. And I think that may well be Jesus as light of the world. The light that shines even in the darkness of the Passion is the light of Jesus shining forth. So I hope this video helps to explain some things. And I invite you to come into St. John's, whether during the week or at one of our services, and use the space to reflect on our own readiness as Christians for the challenges of being the church in the world. You'll of course be very welcome to join us for any of our services, especially during Holy Week, which can be found on our website and also linked in with this. God bless you this Lent.